got deployed, was still drinking, doing all that stuff, saw the world on the Marine Corps' dime, got so drunk in every port that I would have to crawl back on board ship. But the Marine Corps was okay with alcohol as long as you didn't drive and as long as you showed up. Got back stateside after being deployed for a little while and came sliding through the main gate a little over the limit and got my first DUI in the military. Marine Corps says that's bad, so they give me what's called non-judicial punishment, take away some of my money, restrict me to base. They don't take a rank at the time. And the Marine Corps looks at me and says, son, you've got a problem with alcohol. We're gonna put you in treatment. So they put me in another 28-day program. I've already been to one that they don't know about. I can't tell them about the first one because then I would have violated my oath of enlistment. I'm kind of caught. I've been living this lie. And my recovery is based on honesty. Or at least it should be. Today it is. So I'm living this lie, I'm doing all these things, I'm not, I stop drinking while I'm in the Marine Corps. I have a period of about a year and a half, 2 years where I'm not drinking at all. I'm the designated driver, I'm doing everything right, I'm progressing, I get promoted, I pick up corporal, everything's going along well. Then I start drinking again because I think I've got it licked. Because I can go out and have a beer or two and not overindulge. I try that moderation crap that for me can work temporarily, but not permanently. Because what happens with me is when I start having something else happen and I've already got that substance in my body, I lose the ability to say no. Or I lose the ability to say slow down. I drink to excess. I drink everything to excess, whether it's water, whether it's coffee, whether it's soda, whether it's chocolate milk. Doesn't matter. If it's there, I pound whatever I drink. I keep progressing. I'm manipulating family members. I'm doing whatever I can. I do whatever I can to get whatever I need. I start dealing drugs again. I start stealing again. I start doing all sorts of behavior. I've got my mom sending me money that's supposedly going to my mortgage payment that I'm trying to turn into more money because I'm so far behind on my mortgage payment, and I get into this vicious cycle. I lose my house. My wife had moved out. My ex-wife at this time had moved out because our divorce was finalized in May of 07. So between May of 07 and May of 09, I'm just crazy. I don't know how to deal with life. I don't know how to deal with anything. I'm avoiding everything. I'm just totally absorbed in not feeling anything other than the false euphoria that I feel when I'm on methamphetamine or driving a car really fast or anything that's got any adrenaline to it. I'm exhibiting, I'm acting out criminally. I'm doing all sorts of stuff. I end up getting arrested on May 14th of 2009. I had just gotten out of jail 2 weeks before, so I was already on probation. I had seen my probation officer once, and I'd went in there so high. He's like, "You're high." I was like, "No, I'm not." He's like, "Go pee," and I refused to go pee, and it just had gotten crazy. I knew that I was heading for a long prison term. I'd gotten arrested. What I had on me isn't important. It's not relevant. But when I got to the arraignment, they told me I was looking at 18 years. The reality of what I had been doing and what I was doing had set in. I like to say that I wasn't arrested, that I was rescued, that my higher power came in and said, "Son," he treated me like a little 5-year-old kid, preschooler. "Son, you need to go take a nap. You need to go to take a timeout. You need to go to the big boy timeout. You need to go away for a while, because if I can't protect you out here, I'm going to find someplace where I can protect you." And, he chose incarceration for me. I didn't know what to do with that. I didn't know how to react to that. I didn't know where that was going to take me. I was scared. I was looking at 18 years. I called my mom. I called my dad. I called my ex-wife. I called everybody. The hardest call was after I called my ex-wife, and she put my daughter on the phone, who was at that time 13 years old, almost 13. She was 12 years old. She would be 13 that year. And she's like, "Daddy, where are you?" And I said, "I'm in jail, honey." She's like, "Good. At least I know where you are and I know you're safe." And that still breaks my heart. I still don't have much of a relationship with her today because I've let her down too many times. So I had to go away. I had to go to jail, and I had to go to prison. Long story short of that, I fought the case for a little bit, got a private attorney, got it from 18 years down to 18 months. Through just time, I wore them down. They wanted the easy clothes. They didn't want to go to trial. They didn't want the expense of the trial. They didn't want anything like that. So one of the things that had happened right before I got released from prison was they check your record to make sure that you don't have any outstanding charges anywhere or outstanding court cases. And I had an outstanding court case down in Gila Bend. And one of the conditions of them releasing me from prison and not sending me down to Gila Bend to go face that judge was that I had to make a commitment to go down and see him. I got released on a Friday from prison, and I had to see him on Monday. So I'm standing in front of the judge, the justice of the peace down there in Gila Bend. And mind you, I had gotten a speeding ticket in his jurisdiction. I was doing 147 miles an hour, and I had gotten criminal speeding, reckless driving, speed greater than reasonable and prudent, speed in excess of 55 or 65 and a posted 55, and wasting a finite resource. Throughout the process of going through all that, I owed him 100 hours of community service and some fines. Well, I go down there and I stand in front of him, and I'm an addict. He's like, "What are you doing different?" And I say to him that I'm going to these meetings. Mind you, I've been to one, but I'm prone to exaggerate, so I've been to these meetings. The judge pulls down the microphone and shares a little bit of personal information about himself. I can't go into detail, but basically, he's like, "I understand." He sits back up and he looks at me and he's like, "So instead of these community service hours, how would you feel about doing some meetings?" And I jump at the chance. Go sit in a meeting for an hour or go do hard labor somewhere for an hour. Again, my higher power has another plan for me. And the judge comes back with, "I need 45 meetings and you've got 60 days to do it." So I go do the 45 meetings. I create my own sign-in sheet. I'm living right across the street from one of the local fellowship clubs, and I go there every day of the week, sometimes twice a day, just to get meeting signatures, just because I'm trying to get this done, trying to get done with this. Throughout the process doing that, I meet several people, and I'm looking for work, and work is hard to find when you're fresh out of prison and you're an addict and you've got a record. And I'm like, holy crap, what am I gonna do? Again, my higher power comes through for me. He's like, "I got a plan for you." So he has I get a job working in a treatment center. I get to use my passion of cooking. And I get to cook breakfast and dinner for a bunch of addicts. I get to progress. I get to start feeling valued again. I start developing a sense of my own value. I start going to meetings regularly. Through going to meetings regularly, I Find a home group. Home group is where I go on a regular basis and I meet with several people, and I develop those interpersonal relationships with individuals that start to know the real Corey, to know the real me, and to point out when I'm being an asshole, when I'm screwing up. I work a 12-step program of recovery. The goal for me in that is to find some way to maintain my recovery, because any time that I have not done a 12-step program of recovery, I've ended up relapsing at some point in time in my life. So I keep hearing about it and I keep seeing it, and I know because it's been beat into me that sponsors are important, that sponsors, you need a sponsor, and a sponsor is going to take you through the steps. So I go to these meetings, I pick one of them to be my home group, I find a sponsor, and I start working on my step work. The step work is what helps me heal my soul, is what takes me on a journey that of self-discovery. And we're talking about the guy who's been lying about his life and about where he's been, what he's done his entire life. So it really is a journey of discovery. It's a journey of self-discovery, because I don't know who I am anymore. I've lost track of who I am, who I was meant to be. Now I've got to give back. And I can't just give back in a way where I'm getting paid for it, because service work and working in recovery are two separate things for me. I've got to give back. I've got to be of service. Long gone are the days here in Arizona where you can smoke in a meeting. So picking up and cleaning ashtrays is not a service commitment here anymore. Used to be back in the 80s, but it's not here anymore. Service commitments now are greeting people, hugging people at the door, counting the seventh tradition, doing stuff that's directly related to the growth of the fellowship that you choose to be in. And today I am that person. Today I can be that person. Today I'm responsible. Today I'm married. I've got 2 adopted children, 2 stepchildren that I love and I care about. I've got my 3 natural children who I strive to have a relationship with. I'm faithful. I'm working on becoming the man, the husband, the father, the person that I was always intended to be. I try to be that person on a daily basis. I don't do it perfectly. I still screw up. I still bite people's heads off. I'm a loud, boisterous guy. I hurt people's feelings. The point is that I make amends for it today. I'm quick to walk up to somebody and say, you know what I did was wrong. I'm sorry. Or if somebody hurts my feelings, I have to look at what my part in it today. Am I hurt because I had unrealistic expectations? Or is it because of something else? Today I get to explore my humanity. I get to be human, and I get to try not to make the same mistakes that I've made. Today I get to be me. And that's the greatest blessing I could ever have. I know that my addiction is doing push-ups waiting for me. My addiction doesn't go away just because I haven't used for years. Just like diabetes or something else that's in remission, my disease is there waiting for me. My meetings, my step work, my sponsor, my service, my home group, those are like my insulin and my eating habits that would help me maintain my diabetes and keep it in check. I have to do those things in order to be me today. If you're suffering from addiction, you're not alone. Last year, there was 26 million addicts that were looking for treatment, right in your boat, that were suffering, struggling. There's even more that are struggling that are unwilling to even consider that they've gotten an addiction. If you want help, it's out there. The first thing you got to do is reach out. there's a lot of parables and a lot of stories out there about how to help an addict. But for me, there's no greater therapeutic value than one addict helping another. Because it's kind of like being lost in a maze. An addict in recovery knows the way out because they've gotten out. So reach out, go to a meeting, pick up the phone. There's so many resources out there.